So today on my empowerment series, I have Fran Hughes. Fran Hughes authored her own hero's journey, one shaped by need, grit, and attitude. As a 14-year-old finding herself in financial predicament, Fran chose to fight, using her lateral thinking approach to rise above the fall. Paying her way through private school, she complemented school learning with financial education, and in doing so, discovered her passion for financial planning. Today, as an award-winning financial advisor, business owner with 30 years experience, Fran uses knowledge and communication skills acquired to educate and empower, ensuring clients are well-positioned to write their own success stories. A well-respected active member of the community as the FPA Chapter Chair, Future 2 Foundation Ambassador, and finance columnist, can never say that word, for the West Australian newspaper. In 2020, Fran was awarded FS Power Australia's top 50 most influential financial advisors. I'm very pleased to welcome the Director and Head of Financial Solutions at Nexia Perth, Fran Hughes. Hello, Fran.
Hello, Louise. Thanks
so
for having
much.
me.
Oh, look, it's my absolute pleasure, and I'm really interested to hear about your empowerment journey. Firstly, let's go straight into what's your definition of empowerment?
Well, my definition of empowerment is to be able to make your own decisions based on your lived experience and your skill set and your knowledge. But more importantly, it's about your drive and your passion. And by doing so, you take ownership of every little single decision that you make. That's empowerment. It's all yours to own.
Yes, well, on that note, I'm really intrigued to find out where that empowerment starts for you. So that's really what my interview is about, where it starts and where it goes to helping you transition into adulthood and beyond. So yeah, as a child, I believe you were one of six children?
Yes, that's right. I was the youngest of six.
Oh my lordy. So that's a lot of children for your parents to deal with. So did you feel empowered, even though we didn't really know that word at the time? But did you get a sense of being confident and I can do anything kind of attitude as you were growing up?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, as I look back, at that point in time, I didn't really think that was the definition of empowerment. But on reflection, every little step put me into that space. And so what I mean by that, as the youngest of six, you see, I come from a background of a traditional Asian family. So the elders pretty much got the role of the leader within the group or within the siblings. And that particular, the eldest of our six children was pretty much groomed to have everything. So to understand a little bit more about my background, I guess I was the youngest of six children of a migrant family. So I came to Australia when I was 12 years old. My eldest brother was 18 at that time. And so as the youngest also, I guess, you know, we kind of get a little bit forgotten, if you like. So that sense of empowerment never really came to me. I had to find it for myself. And how that came to be, the wonderful gift, though, I have to say, that my father gave me, and I thank him to this day. He's 88 years old, by the way. And I thank him that the one gift that he did give to me was, Fran, my past is not your future. So what my learnings is just the start of what you can achieve. Your future is for you to own. And this was the age of 12.
Right.
And so that little seed in me allowed me to just forge my way forward. And the wonderful thing about my parents is they allowed me to be who I was. So here I was, but I have to put a little caveat here. My mum. Now, if you can imagine a mum, and I come from an Asian background. So my mum is what you would traditionally call a tiger mum. You know, those where, you know, I come back from school and I've got my school grades and I go up to mum and I go, look, mum, I've got 93% on my exams. And she would say, oh, that's wonderful, dear. What happened to the other 7%? Now, I love my mum to bits. And it was those little things that really start to push you. And although at the time it felt like I could never please my mum, I also look back at it as a gift, because in her beautiful and kind way, she was just encouraging me to be the best I could be. So at a particular point when I was age 14, see, Mum and Dad, they're beautiful human beings. They trust others explicitly. When they came to Australia, they pretty much invested everything that they had in feeding their 6 children, but also tried to build a business of their own. Now, they're one of many statistics where after 4 years, their business failed. So as a teenager, I thought, well, what could I do? What could I do to help Mum and Dad? And what I did realize is, hang on, actually, I'm good at numbers. Yeah, I've got pretty good grades in accounting. Yeah, maths is also my forte. Maybe I can figure this one out with them. And so here I was asking my tiger mum, Mum, do you think it's okay if I took over the budget? Because it was at this point in time, they were probably down to the last $100 that lost all their savings and all their money in this business venture gone wrong. And me being the youngest of 6 children, I was still at home. And I asked Mo if I could take over the household budget. Can you imagine that?
And the response?
and the response was, okay, go for it. You've got the next 12 months to see how you go with handling the budget. And it was at that point in time I realized that Mum and Dad unknowingly empowered me to be able to take responsibility, but also use my knowledge and skills and put it into practical terms, how I can turn the household budget around.
Goodness me, that's amazing. And I assume you did turn the budget.
Yes. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad to say I also went on to pay for my own private school fees. And today, Mum and Dad are in a beautiful home and fully retired. Dad's 88 and Mum's 80, and they're in a wonderful space.
Do you think your dad saying that your story doesn't have to be the same as his story, was that the moment you felt empowered going forward? Because what 14-year-old does what you did?
Yeah, I guess so. You know, we never know what happens when we've been given a particular gift. Now, gifts can come in a form of what we know as presents, but gifts can also come in a form of inspiration, words of wisdom, also someone speaking into your future self. And what I didn't know at that point in time was Dad unknowingly was actually speaking into my future self. Within every one of us, we've got that bit of courage to just take us one step further. Now, if we failed and we take ownership of it, it's okay to fail, because it's just a learning experience of what we shouldn't do again. And we just forge ahead and forge ahead. And that's, to your point, I think absolutely that was a gift from my dad, and I thank him every single day.
Yeah, but even your mum saying, what happened to the other 7%, Fran? I mean, she must have said that in a somewhat nicer way, or you were able to take it as, okay, I'll do better next time. Whereas it can either be, I'm never good enough, or damn it, I am going to do that other 70%, get that other 70%, 7% next time. It's a very fine line as a parent, isn't it? And do you think it's the tone, or, you know, what is it that can deliver the same sentence, but you can either feel one way or the other? What is it in either us or their tone? What do you think might be the difference?
Yeah, I read something from Jeff Bezos of the Amazon, and he talks about why the 5% succeed and the other 95%ers kind of just live through life. And I guess the 5%ers include, say, the Tony Robbins of the world, the Oprah Winfrey of the world, where what is it that they have? Because if we think about Tony Robbins, he talks about the gift that his mum also gave him, and in that, she was what you would call cruel. She didn't really pay too much attention to him. But what drove him, because of it, what drove him was that inner sense of just being better and striving to please mum. And then you've got Oprah Winfrey in a similar case where she could have absolutely turned it around to say, look, woe is me, the world's against me, as opposed to, no, you know what, I'm going to show them. I'm going to show them I'm going to be better than this. And Jeff Bezos talked about the 5%ers. The 5%ers have kind of some characteristics that say it's about forging ahead no matter what. It's about not listening to the negatives, but always looking at the positives of what can be done. And the inner child that says, I've got to please, whether it is your parents, or whether it is an audience, whether it is your customers, whether it is someone that you admire. I've got to keep pleasing this other person so that I continue to strive and be better. But the wonderful thing about it is actually you've got to please yourself. You've got to absolutely please yourself to be the better version of you each and every day.
Yes. Okay. So on that note, let's go forward and through to your early adulthood and then into your business. But did you do other things? You've got your education now. So what else have you done to make Fran Hughes feel empowered and confident as an adult?
Yeah, it's I truly believe that little light that you have within you to give you the courage to take the step forward also needs to be ignited by wonderful people around you to continue to cheer you on. There are days when you feel like you're in flow, you've got things going and you're doing everything right, and things are just all happening. And that's because you're getting what we call positive feedback from the things you're doing. Now, by getting positive feedback from the people around you suggests that actually you're on the right path to keep doing what you're doing. And so I look back to when I first got my first job, and this was, by the way, in November of 1987. And I'm in the finance profession. So what it means for others that don't know what happened in November of 1987, it was the month after the stock market crash of the big 87. And then fast forward, we've got similar ones, the GFC of 2007. And of course, last year with COVID, we had a massive crash with the market. So what I found is that I was a young 18-year-old in a male environment, and I was a female around 5 male executives. Now, I could have been absolutely gun shy and absolutely daunted by the fact that I was the youngest thing. But I also truly believe that you can't be what you can't see. So for me to see these 5 amazing executives, yes, they were male, but they almost took me on like their little sister. And that's the key. If you've got advocates, you've got a group of people cheering you on, also mentoring you, they're the key things that will continue to elevate that little spark of courage you've got in you and give you that positive feedback.
So do you have particular mentors now, or you just draw on reading about others? That's another way to be inspired and go forward. And do you use business coaches, mentors, business networks?
I do, and I'm going to kind of summarize it in a particular way that I have various forms of mentors. Firstly, I have a group of wonderful women, and including this particular group that is the Business Chicks group, and they give me absolute positive feedback, and I love it because every single time we get together, it's we're cheering each other on, and that's just such a wonderful space to be in. You get affirmation that actually you're doing all the right things and you want to continue to forge. And also these are the women that you can really open up with and be absolutely authentic. All of us would have really horrible bad days, and you can lean on these women to say, look, I'm just having one of these horrible days, and they will continue to lift you up. So that's one community that I absolutely love. Mm-hmm. And in return, I truly believe, and my mantra is, I'm here to serve the community that's been of service to me. So what that means is stepping into the Financial Planning Association chapter chair here in WA, I continue to serve the 1,200 advisors here in Perth, because the profession that is financial planning has given me so much back in return. And also then, and looking into that space, I'm also part of, or should I say, I'm the president of an emerging speakers community called Speakers Tribe, and we're global. And for me, they've also given me the affirmation and continue to cheer me on as an individual. So my role is to be of service to them all around the world. We've got a group in the UK, US, India, Malaysia, Singapore, New Zealand, and of course all around Australia. So that's also another group. You know, they say that we are the average of the 5 people that we hang around. I say I'm the average of the 5 groups that I serve. Yeah, and so the third group that I surround myself with are absolutely, to your point, mentors, coaches, because I truly believe in order to be the best version of us, we need feedback. Now, when I say feedback, not just feedback from anyone, but feedback from the people you love and trust, that will also have your back and also have you front of mind when they put forward your feedback. So yeah, absolutely. My coach, by the way, lives in Geneva, so it's really cool.
Oh, very good. Wow, from all that, firstly, I think, how have you got the time to do all that? That's what my first thing is. And then I think, Jay, wow, you've really created such a community around you that's pushing you forward. And of course, you're giving back to them as well, which, you know, is part of my next thing is like, how are you helping others to be empowered? And I believe, you know, there's an article coming up in the West Australian about women in particular age group, my age group. So tell me about that, because that sounds really helpful to that group of women.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I also love the fact that I can give back, and how I give back is to empower other women to step into their own courage and own power. And I write regularly for the West Australian in the Your Money section. And this particular article that's coming out concentrates or talks about the challenges that women face in their older years or their mature years. And this particular article talks about the fact that there is a rise in the trend in divorce rates for 55 to 60-year-old women. What that means are some issues. So the first one is that how can they step into that space of comfortable retirement with courage? And traditionally for these women, they would be the nurturer, they would be the stay-home mums, or they would be, you know, they might have picked up a part-time role and haven't really concentrated on their career as opposed to concentrating on their family. So then their runway to retirement is really shortened by the fact they've had interrupted employment, they've had times, where they've had low income, and so trying to really, really get on top of that. But what I've also found is that women who have good control of their finances are a lot more independent and have the courage to step into retirement, because ultimately it's not the end, it's just the start. And ultimately, one of the feedback that I did get from a lot of these women that do actually step into divorce is that although painful going through the separation, I've come out on the other end being happier and more independent and confident, because now I can make those decisions without having to check in with someone else. I can make it and own it and move forward into retirement.
Sounds fantastic. Of course, you're not only dealing with that age group and not only just women, you're dealing with both genders and all age groups. So, and I think it's fantastic. You said in your bio that you educate and empower people, and I think that's really important. And giving that situation that you just gave there, that example is just one of them, and it's really important. For them to have someone, just like you were talking about, you had tribes around you. They've got someone that they can come to and get support from, which is really, really wonderful. Do you do any meditation, or you probably go on conferences and things like that? Do you to get further educated? Do you do those, or you've sort of? I'm trying to think what maintains your sense of empowerment, and going forward, we tend to always want to learn and grow. So, what other things might that other people might be interested to, might resonate with them. So, oh yeah, that'd be a great idea to do that.
Yeah. Every day is a day for learning more, and I think we never stop learning. That aspect of curiosity continues to empower us moving forward. I live my life by a little framework. It's called my ABCs, and what that is A is ask. If you're any time in a position when you don't know, don't be afraid to ask, because by asking you will learn, and by learning then you have the skills and the knowledge to take it on board. The B is be curious. Be curious about life. So to your point, what do I do around new learnings? What do I do around taking on, new findings? Well, in my profession, we do have to keep up with our profession. So what we call 40 hours a year in professional development. Mm-hmm. So that's one area. But I also, as I get older, I'm always curious about, well, what's happening in the lives of, for example, 50-year-old women. As I step into my 50s, I'm keen to understand what's this thing called perimenopause and menopause. What's going on in the lives of women stepping into 50 to 60? And then I read a lot of books too. I do believe that we don't need to recreate anything. We just need to be in that space of learning from the past and understanding what the future might look like. So that's my B of my ABCs. And then my C is, by doing your A's and your B's, then you create credibility for yourself. And by creating credibility as a result, how did I get to be a regular finance columnist of the West Australian, and also various other publications like the Money Magazine, Money and Life, Yahoo Finance, and so forth, is that when I got into the space of being curious, I want to know, how do I write an article? So I wrote one article and posted it. And as a result, it gave me a little bit of credibility. So then that continues to snowball to, let me write 2 articles. Hang on, let me write 3 articles for 3 publications. Hang on, let me write 4 articles for 4 publications on a regular basis. And then that's how you build your credibility.
Yeah. And of course, your confidence grows because they're saying, yes, we like this. And yeah, our readers like this. And can you write another one? So your confidence is moving. Fran, what if you're not feeling so confident? Mm-hmm. If you wake up tomorrow and you're feeling pretty flat, is there something like a quick fix for you?
You know that they say that teachers appear when the student is ready. I have to share with you a story, and this is so relevant. It was only 2 weeks ago I woke up not feeling confident whatsoever. As I just mentioned, as I step in my 50s, my body's going through a whole heap of changes as part of menopause, and I woke up feeling okay. My brain, my head is still a 20-year-old. I feel like I've got full of energy. My body's just not wanting to work with me.
I totally understand.
And you know what? My 21-year-old daughter, by the way, I've got 2 beautiful daughters. They're 22 and 21. And they're in that space where I want to be the best version of me for them, and that's what drives me each and every day. And if I can be the best, not the best, but the kind of mentor that they're also looking for, that's exactly my role. So my 21-year-old, I kind of woke up going, oh, just not feeling the best. And my 21-year-old turns to me and says, Mum, the best thing you could do is start loving yourself, no matter what happens with your body. Your body's just going through a change, just like I went through when I was in my adolescence. How good was that, Louise?
Did you say that to her? Did you say that to her years ago and she's just played it back to you? Or has she just come out with that herself?
She came up with it herself.
Wow.
Mum, you've got to love yourself no matter what.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's fantastic because she knows that, as a 21-year-old. And I mean, yeah, that's a really important thing for her to realise for herself. That's amazing. I know our children surprise us sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
They're fantastic.
Yeah. So there will be times where we don't feel confident. It's what I refer to as a crisis in confidence. Yeah. And I go back to leaning on others that you can absolutely trust and be absolutely open and say, look, it's not happening for me today. And if they know you in and out, they will lift you up. And it only takes a small word of advice.
Oh, you seem so blessed with so many wonderful people around you. And of course, you ask for help as well. I learned that recently that, someone said to me, because I always think, oh, how do I do that? But someone said to me, rather than say that, say, who can help me do that?
Yeah.
And I went, oh my gosh, it's kind of just changed the way I go about things, because I just procrastinate for so long because how do I do that? But now it's like, oh, who can help me do that? So yeah, that was a really important lesson for me. Fran, I've really enjoyed speaking with you today. And look, if anyone does want to get in touch with you, how is it best for them to get in touch with you?
I would love to connect with any of your audience or any of your ladies or anyone really who'd like to just reach out, because as I say, I'm here to serve. And the way you can connect with me is through my social media platforms. So I'm very prominent in LinkedIn, and if you look up Fran Hughes on LinkedIn, you will see that I'll pop up very quickly on your social media page. And on Instagram and Facebook is also another way to connect with me. Instagram is my play area. So if you want to play and have fun with me, come to my Instagram page. But if you want to talk about empowerment and certainly about finance, come to my LinkedIn page.
Yeah, well, I'll put some links in as well so people can connect with you. So thank you so much, Fran. It's just fascinating speaking to various women about their empowerment journey. And yeah, I think you were blessed that your father, as a 12-year-old, encouraged you to be your own person and create your own life story. So yeah, very nice. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. Thanks so much, Fran.
Thanks for having me, Louise.